What's up, guys? In today's video we're going to be doing some maintenance to the Z4 Sport. Here we go. Alright, so all we're going to need for today, I have the Maxima Racing Oil side-by-side engine high performance. This is a synthetic oil, and I'm going with the 5W50. You can also run the 10W40 if you'd like, but for us here in Mississippi at Main Street Cycle, we have found that this is the best for us in our conditions. So this is also available at Main Street Cycle. You can call them, they can order you your kit and send it to you with free shipping. This is the oil filter that we'll be using today. And what you'll need is a 8mm to be able to take your oil filter cap off, and then a 19mm to be able to take your oil drain plug out. Also, listen, if you should have a manual with your Z-Force or any of your CFMOTOs. It tells you detailed instructions on how to do this. This is found on page 124. But anyways, you can refer to your manual for many questions that you may have. If you didn't get one with your machine, call your dealer. They need to send you one, mail you one, or something. But anyways, I do have a 1/4 inch torque wrench so that I can properly torque my bolts on the oil filter cap, and I have a torque wrench for the drain plug. Now I know that not everybody is going to have that in their shop, so if you're just doing this at your house, I'll give you some tips here in a little bit on how to tighten it, how to feel for it without over tightening and stripping your bolts. So I've already cranked up the engine. You need to crank it up, let it idle for about 2 minutes, get the oil to circulate, and then give it a minute to settle back, and then you're going to drain your oil. So we're going to do that now. Okay, but first we're going to go down here. I'm going to show you where your drain plug is at, and it is the big boy right there. So we're going to take that bolt off and let the oil drain. All right, so take your 19mm ratchet and break it loose there. It's not very tight at all. We're gonna loosen that up and try to move our fingers as quickly as possible. There it goes. And that looks really clean, so that's a good sign. I think that was the sound of the washer that just fell in there, so let me dig that out real quick. Okay, so this may happen to you. Make sure that you do not lose your this is your washer gasket. This is what seals off the bolt, your drain bolt, to your crankcase. And so what happened was I pulled the plug out, the drain plug. It started draining oil. This happens a lot on different things, even like the four-wheelers and everything. But this stuck up there for just momentarily, and then it fell out into the drain pan. So fish that out, make sure that it is in good condition, and so that way you can either decide to replace it or reuse it. I mean, you can never go wrong by asking your dealer when you get one to when you get an oil change kit to just get another seal washer. You know, they shouldn't be very expensive, but mine looks okay, so I'm going to clean it and I'm going to reuse it. I'm going to also clean this magnet here, so that should pick up a little bit of metal junk. So that ain't bad at all. There's no big flakes or engine flakes or anything in there. When you're breaking in an engine, it's not uncommon to see a little bit of silver flakes in your oil. Now if you see a lot, you know, that may be an issue. I remember I had a Kawasaki 450R 2008 model that I was breaking in. I changed the oil, and man, I panicked because I saw so much silver flake in it, but they just, I called the dealership, talked to them about it, and they said no, that's normal in that particular engine, that racing engine that they had in that 450R. But anyways, this is not bad at all. I'm gonna keep letting that drain. I'm gonna clean this up, set it to the side, and we're gonna take the oil filter cover off now. All right, so we're gonna take our 8mm on a 1/4 inch ratchet. We're gonna break these loose. Once you kind of get that first break over loose, as you can do the rest by hand. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so once you have your bolts out, you can carefully take this lid out. Okay, and you're going to want to inspect your seal so that you can reuse it. It looks good, but we'll set that to the side. We'll clean it some more. Then we're going to take our oil filter out. Be careful, it will be warm depending on, let's get this over. Okay, I'm just going to set my oil filter down inside my oil catch can, or oil pan. Alright, so now we're going to install our new oil filter, but you want to take some fresh oil, take one of your new bottles, and peel the top there. And what you want to do, or at least this is what I like to do, I like to take my new oil filter, okay, and I like to just lube this up just a little bit. I don't like to put it in there dry. I like to put just a little bit of oil in. So don't take much. I'm just going to kind of get some and make a little bit of a mess just to lube this up a little. And it kind of wets the oil filter just a little. I mean, you could even take it over your pan and get it all, you know, use a little bit of oil to get it wet. That way, that initial, when you first crank it up, it's already got wet, and oil can circulate even quicker when you first crank it back up after an oil change. But anyhow, so you want to put this back on, and you'll feel this rubber seal kind of hold itself in place. All right, you'll feel it snap in. Okay, then you're going to take your lid, your cap. You want to make sure that it's clean, and make sure that your seal is in good shape. All right, so we're going to put that back on. Okay, so this little vent tube is need to put it back on. This, at least that's how it is on the ZFORCE 950. So we'll put it on the top here, and we'll do that to all 3 bolts, and then we're going to tighten them up to 7.3 foot-pounds of torque. And that is if you have yourself a little 1/4 inch drive, or even you can use a 1/2 inch drive torque wrench. I mean, not 1/2 inch, but 3/8. But let me show you a trick, and it all comes down to feel. You just do not want to strip these out. 7.3 foot-pounds of torque is very little, so that's why I recommend using a 1/4 inch drive ratchet. Bring it to where it meets on each side. You want to tighten them up evenly. Okay, so your seal will seal off good. Just get it to where they're all touching and it's pulling kind of snug up against the crankcase. Okay, now take a couple fingers take a couple fingers. Don't grab it with your whole fist, because there's no need to bow up on it, but just kind of take and get it, kind of snug it up, you know. You'll feel it get real tight. Just finger tight, don't use your whole hand. And that should be it. But I'm going to take and prove that with my torque wrench. Alright, so I got my torque wrench here, and I'm breaking it over at 7.3 foot-pounds of torque, which is not much. And that's it. That's it. So now, remember, we want to take and make sure that this is clean. We're going to put our drain plug back in. All right, so we're going to put our drain plug in, and we're going to screw it in finger tight. Then we're going to clean up around it, and just clean up your mess that you made, because we want to be able to make sure that there is that you're not leaking, and that you were able to get good and sealed off. So I'm going to take my torque wrench, and this is going to be at 18 foot-pounds of torque, like 18.5 or something like that, which is not much. Watch, right there. That's it. I'm going to just check it. I mean, that is not tight at all. I really want to tighten it more than 18, but I don't want to strip it. So anyways, that's 18.5, and that's all it takes. So we're going to clean up, and then we will add our oil. Alright, so with the Z-Force, I didn't get this with any of my C-Forces, I don't think. I might have, I wasn't paying attention. But they include this here funnel and this tube here that you can fit together and add your oil without making a mess, so that's pretty nice. So we're going to do that now. Alright, so the engine oil capacity with a oil filter change is, it says 2.5 liters, and these are 1 liter jugs here. So I put 2 and 2.5. So anyhow, so I'm going to try to put half of this bottle in there, since I've already added 2 liters. That's one thing I don't like about these bottles, is there's no indicator on what is the halfway point. So we're just gonna stop there. I feel like that may be halfway, and we're going to let it all drain in. We're going to put our dipstick back in. We'll crank it up, run it for about 30 seconds, and we will check the level and add as needed. You don't want to add too much, because you can't just take it out. You can always add more oil, but you can't take it out without making an absolute mess. So don't want to waste no oil. Alright, so we've cranked the engine. We let it run for about 30 seconds. And then we let it sit for about a minute to let everything settle. You want to take your dipstick out, clean it, set it and screw it back in. I'll screw it in flush, and then pull it back out to check my level. All right, man, we looked up and got it perfect. So here's your maximum line, your low line, and we are right at the maximum line. That was a good guess. Just for good measure, I'm going to check it twice. It's always good to check twice. Yep, we're good. All right, so that's it on the oil change. You want to, like I said, make sure that you don't over tighten these bolts, and make sure you get your oil dipstick in there good and snug. Clean up everything, crank it, make sure there's no leaks, okay? If there is, I don't know, you can try to figure out what you did wrong, or take it to your dealer, okay? But I know that shops, they tend to charge a lot for maintenance and service fees, but you're paying for the assurance that's done right, and if anything's wrong, they have to cover it. But if you want to save some money and you feel like you can do this, it's not too hard. So before we go, I was going to kind of talk about some other things, like with your break-in period. You know, it always says with everything I've ever owned, anything you've owned, Honda, Kawasaki, Polaris, Can-Am, at the break-in service, they want you to bring it in to your dealership and let them check, do an oil change, check your air filter, what else? Do the check the clearance on the valves. Now, I've owned several machines of all kind of manufacturers. I have a lot of riding buddies. We talk about this kind of thing. They've bought a lot of new units. They've had a lot of good ones. And I've never personally, nor any of my close friends, have ever had any engine problems. And we break them all in the same way, no matter what manufacturer it is. And we've never had our valves checked. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, that's stupid, you need to do it because the manual says so. But be my guest, if you want to go get charged an arm and a leg for that, go ahead. I've talked to different technicians. I talked to, especially, I was good friends with some technicians at a Honda dealership, certified Honda guys, and they, you know, a lot of people would bring their bikes there to do that initial service and pay, you know, $300+ and they would never have any valve clearances that they would have to change, except for one service guy said that he's actually done two. In your area may be different, but me personally, I don't think it's necessary unless you start having some runnability issues. It starts to not run right. Yeah, take it to your dealer. It'll be covered under warranty. They can check your valves. Good to go. Check with your local dealer though that you will be getting your warranty work done at, and ask them, talk to them. You need to develop a good relationship with your local dealer, so they'll take care of you. Hopefully you have a local dealer that has some certified mechanics for CFMOTO, and they can take care of you right, and they know what they're talking about. But ask them, hey, if I change my oil and oil filter, will I be covered under warranty? They should take care of you. But anyways, real quick, stuff that I do recommend you do: take your air filter out, and this goes the same with your C-Force ATVs. I mean, this goes for anything that you have, your Hondas, your Kawasaki's, Can-Am. But take your air filter out, clean it. If you have your stock air filter, it's super easy to clean. Just take it out and blow it out with an air hose. You're good to go. You know, I have the K&N, not the K&N, but the Uni air filters on all my ATVs. Those you have to clean and oil, and then you're good to go on that. But some other things I've showed you in other videos, I would go through, grease the grease fittings or Allen mites, grease Allen mites, and grease your machine, check those things. I'm only going to maybe once a year actually do the rear differential, front differential oil. I'll service that about once a year because I don't ride like every day, but if I do a whole bunch of mud riding and think I may have some seal issues, I'll definitely change it and get that checked. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it was helpful. I have more maintenance tips and other things like that coming your way on the Z-Force as well as the ATVs as we upkeep them, and we want to make sure that they last us many years. We've been running them hard, been enjoying them. They've all been doing great. So listen, if you're not I know we don't have that many patrons, but I can definitely help you out a lot more on there. If you have questions or anything and you'd like to support this channel and be a little more involved in Real Talk Powersports, go to the link in the description and consider being a patron. You will be, if you become a VIP patron, you will be getting 2 free t-shirts mailed to your house. I know I can do that in the US. Those of you that are supporting me outside the US, I'll have to see about that. I don't know, I'll have to check into shipping rates and all that. But if you become a all access patron, you will get 1 free t-shirt. So consider doing that, and it will support us. God bless y'all. We'll see you in the next one.